Teachers' pets. Samantha, or Sam to her friends, pulled up to the parking space reserved for teachers near the administration office of the college where she'd been teaching. She was a little nervous as this was her first day, but excited at the same time. 5 years of achieving the necessary degrees to teach, with loans now coming due, she was anxious to start her career. Entering the administration office, she went to the faculty room where she was to meet with the head of her department. The assistant dean, whose name was Norman, was a welcoming man and easy to get along with. He showed her around the college and the various buildings on campus where she'd be teaching classes. As colleges go, this wasn't any different to any number of other colleges. However, the biggest difference with this one was that it was a female-only college, and Sam loved that about it. Don't get me wrong, Samantha loved guys, but she preferred women for one very good reason. Sam was hermaphrodite, or as she prefers to call it, a Futanari, or Futa for short. Men didn't normally take it well when she told them about it, even the ones she thought wouldn't freak out. However, men seemed to handle the fact that a female who was born with an extra appendage was a freak of nature, at least the ones she'd known. Although to be fair, there had been one who didn't mind, but she lost him when he couldn't take the fact that her cock was bigger than his by a good margin. Samantha always dressed with a loose skirt because it was the only thing that helped to hide her private area from prying eyes. She'd never been discovered by anyone, even by accident. She'd revealed what she had to a few people, but never another woman. So this new job was going to be a challenge. It really makes you wonder what she would have thought had she known what was going to happen in the coming days. Her first teaching period that day was an English composition class, which she excelled at. The first thing she did, once everyone was settled, was to introduce herself and check the student roster list against those present for class. The lesson itself went quite well, but she noticed a group of students seated close to each other that seemed to form a clique, and Samantha recognized them as the popular set. There were 3 of them in total. Raquel, who seemed to be the one they all wanted to hang out with. Then there was Claudia, who it must be said was quite a looker, and her friend Michelle. The reason that Samantha had noticed them was that they were the only ones who asked any questions. The rest of the class seemed to be happy, just taking it all in and letting others do the questioning. There was another reason she noticed them, though, and that was because of Claudia. To say she was a stunner would be an understatement. She had long legs, a slim waist, and large breasts, all wrapped up with the kind of face that lit up a room whenever she entered it. Sam knew that if half of this class had consisted of men, they'd all be in love with Claudia. When her first class was finished, the 3 girls stayed behind to welcome Samantha and to thank her for a good lesson. They claimed they'd learned something, which made Sam happy. As they were about to leave, Raquel asked a question. Miss, is it okay for teachers to fraternize with their students? She said. In what way? Replied Sam. Well, we were just talking about going to see a movie later on tonight, and we wondered if you'd care to join us, said Raquel. No, there's nothing wrong with a teacher doing that, but I'm going to have too much to do later tonight. Otherwise, I might have said yes. I enjoy the movies myself. Perhaps I can take a rain check and we can do it some other time, replied Samantha. The girls understood and liked the fact that Samantha wasn't blowing them off, but had prior arrangements. The girls left after that, and Samantha carried on with her day, happy that she'd made a good impression on some of her students. It must have been around 9 in the evening when Samantha was coming out of the pizza parlor, holding a pepperoni with extra cheese in her hands, and heard the voices of the girls from across the street. She hadn't realized that the cinema was on the other side of the road. Samantha looked over and saw them crossing to join her. How was the movie? Asked Samantha as they drew closer. It was only then that Samantha realized how they were all dressed. Not bad, but none of us liked the ending. It was too expected, if you know what I mean, replied Raquel. Well, I must say you all look hot in those clothes. Do you always dress to the nines? Said Samantha. Claudia was wearing a low-cut and short dress, which embellished her figure something fierce. The other 2 were wearing short skirts and a low-cut top, but each of them wore high heels and were very noticeable.